If this was the last hour that you had on this planet, would you want to be doing what you're doing right now? And I'm asking you that because I want you to think about where you're spending your time. Are you spending your time with the people doing the things you want to do because you want to do it? Or are you doing it because you feel like you have to? If you feel this way, you can't miss this video. Hey friends, Berges back today. And we find ourselves doing things, engaging with people, seeing folks, spending time, and a lot of times we don't even want to do it. And we wonder, how do we stop doing the things that we don't want to do? Because like I said earlier, if you had 1 hour left on this planet, would you be doing what you're doing, or would you want to be doing something totally different? I feel that more often than not, we find ourselves wasting time with life distractions. The distractions in life. And so how do we stop wasting our times with those distractions? And how do we deal with those distractions head on? Okay? And how do we understand what our distractions are and realize that we actually implement these distractions in our life because we don't really want to deal with ourselves, look at ourselves, or understand ourselves in this lifetime. And so how do we begin to understand those distractions, and how do we begin to stop engaging in these distractions that take us off target, take us off base, and waste our time? Let's begin the discussion. The first thing that I want to talk about in today's video is that we want to begin to adhere to our personal values, okay? Our personal values are the things that we will and won't accept in our life, okay? And so I want you to think about that. What are your values? What are your beliefs? Okay, how do you feel about things in life? What do you really want to spend your time doing? What will you not accept in your life? Will you accept people that cheat or lie to you? Will you not? What do you accept? What do you not accept? So those are things that you really want to categorize. And when something comes your way that's going to go against your morals, against your ethics, against your values, remember, that's going against your boundaries. And so when we create these much needed healthy boundaries, we stop engaging in things that really don't make us a better person. We stop engaging in the things that take away from us. We stop engaging in the things that make us feel bad. Okay? And so this can go a long way, because remember, it's not about just doing what everybody else wants you to do. It's not about just agreeing to do something, and it's not about allowing somebody to make a comment that actually is antithetical to your values. It's about standing up to that, and it's also not engaging in those type of activities that bring you down, that hurt you, and also stop your progress in life. And so boundaries are so important, and that's based on your values, your beliefs, and what is most important in your life. And to stand by that is quintessential to eliminating these distractions in your day-to-day life. The second thing that I want to bring up is employing self-restraint in your day-to-day life. Okay, this is interesting because self-restraint is based on knowing what is good for us and what is not good for us. There are certain activities that you are doing right now that is probably antithetical to yourself, to your success, and to your purpose. Whether that's going out every night with your friends to happy hour after work, waking up every morning feeling horrible because of the amount of alcohol that you've drank, and doing it over and over again. There comes a time where you have to employ self-restraint with activities that do not help you, that do not create success in your life, and that actually hold you back and are unhealthy. Another example of self-restraint is that many of us find ourselves in toxic relationships. The reason why we stay in that toxic relationship as long as we have is because the sex is really addictive. Okay? This is another place that you need to employ self-restraint in your life, because remember, even though the sex might be good and highly addictive, the relationship is highly toxic. It takes you away from being you. It runs over all of your boundaries, takes away from your values, and makes you feel bad. So at some point in life, even though the sex might be good, you have to employ self-restraint to cut the sex out of this relationship and begin to cut that emotional tie that you have with that person. That'll help you to actually see the relationship for what it truly is, right? Understand that it is toxic, and cut the addictive predication out of that relationship so that you can begin to live your true life. All of these things help us, and self-restraint helps us to maximize those boundaries. And it also helps us to begin to see our value and not to run all over our value, and to also begin to self-love ourselves. The third thing that I want to talk about is that we must stop allowing others to make decisions for us. The reason for that is usually they decide poorly. They make a poor decision for us and we get angry with them because they didn't make the right decision. But it's not really being angry with them that they made the wrong decision, right? Isn't it more of angry internally within ourselves that we didn't make the decision for ourselves? And so one thing that I've realized in life is that when we allow other people to make decisions for us, we usually get off target and we don't find success that way. We have to be in the driver's seat of our own life. Okay? And so when we're allowing other people to make decisions, it just shows that we don't care enough to make the decision, or we're too overwhelmed to make the decision. And how is someone else going to choose the right decision for us? They're not us. And so realizing that when other people are making decisions for us, we've got to take that power back. We've got to use that power and wield that properly, because otherwise our success lies in the balance of that, and we probably won't be successful in life. The fourth thing that I want to talk about is how to unstuck yourself, okay? I hear many clients tell me that they feel stuck. They feel bamboozled by the situation that they're in. Well, the only reason that you feel stuck is because you haven't made the decisions that you need to make in your life. We only feel stuck because we've actually stuck ourselves somewhere in our life, okay? And I know that there might be stressors, and you might be dealing with a relationship that's off kilter. You might be dealing with stresses at work. You might be dealing with all kinds of outside stresses. But when we feel stuck, it means that we are not making the right decisions. We're not choosing to make the right decisions, and we're actually creating this kind of stuck environment within our head. And so we are creating our own reality. So if you feel stuck right now, I want you to begin to think about what are some things that you can do to unstuck. What are some choices that you can make right now to make a better decision in your life? What are some things that you can do right now to change the direction of your life? Because you are in the driver's seat. Oftentimes we don't want to see that because we're scared of making the wrong decision, right? Sometimes we feel as though other people are in the driver's seat of our life, but that's not reality. That's an illusion. And so if we live by that illusion, we will constantly feel stuck because we will not be doing the right actions to unstuck ourselves. So realize you have the ability to make that call, you have the ability to choose for yourself, and you have the right ability to implement the action that you need to take to unstuck and to get moving back on the road, whether it's with your relationships, whether it's your work, or anything to do with you, because you are in control. The next thing that I want to talk about is listening to your gut. We need to listen to our instincts. We need to feel our gut and understand the next choice that we need to make. More often than not, when we're entering into a situation that is going to not be good for us, not successful, can actually hurt us, we're probably going to start feeling uneasy. Okay? That uneasy feeling, maybe a sick feeling, maybe a stress feeling, maybe even our back starts to hurt, we get a headache. Those are things that we can understand that this situation that we're about to walk into is probably not going to be good for us. And actually, when you're listening to your gut, that means, okay, you know what? I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do whatever else, but I'm not going to do this. You know, I've gone to events before where I felt like I had to go to it. I felt like I had to be there. It was on the calendar. I needed to. And on the way to the event, I started feeling like not so good. I started feeling really stressed out. And I'm just going to that event. And I remember just turning around and going back to the office or back home because I knew, because I felt it in my gut that that was a bad choice to make. And so the way that you listen to your gut is you actually feel internally how you're feeling, and then you act properly based on that feeling. You don't just start feeling bad and feeling stressed out and continue to go to the event. Okay? It's not what you do. You don't go on a date when you're feeling stressed out and feeling bad. You just call and cancel that. It's not going to work out for you. Okay? So think about those kind of concepts and follow your gut. You know, a lot of times when we don't follow our gut, we feel bad, we get stressed out, we get there, and guess what? It gets even worse. When we begin to follow our gut, listening to our gut, our gut gets louder and louder. We make better choices, we make better decisions, and we become more successful, and we stop doing things for other people that do not benefit us. Number 7 is to realize when you're in that savior mode or you're in that codependent mode, and to understand why. You know, more often than not, we get into relationships and we manifest this mask of being the savior. I'm going to save this person. Their life is out of whack, and I'm going to help them to see their value, and I'm going to provide all this stuff in their life, right? Sometimes we have that codependent mode where we get so stuck and enmeshed in somebody so quickly that we can't see the difference between us and them, right? And the relationship itself is unhealthy. Okay? And we're going down that path with this mask whether the mask is that we're going to save somebody or the mask that we need that person in our life. And so being hyper aware of the fact when you go into those modes and realizing that the relationship that you're in is not based on truth or health, it's based on actually avoiding looking at yourself. Okay, because if I'm trying to save somebody and give them the life that I think they should have, I'm not looking at my own life. And I'm actually saying, hey, this person has become a project for me. Now I'm going to work on this project instead of looking at the biggest project in hand, which is actually working on me and fixing me. The codependent mode is actually getting a mesh with that other person and looking at them to give us value, looking at them to define us, right? Which, again, somebody else cannot give us value. Somebody else cannot define us. And as we go down that road in that relationship, we're going through a lot of pain and suffering probably throughout the way. But one of the biggest things is that the relationship is not going to continue. It will end because it's not based on a healthy dynamic. And so realizing when we are codependent and understanding that we need to look within ourselves to understand why we are looking outside of ourselves for value and why we're looking at somebody else to define us. And this stuff is awesome because it'll stop us from being in those relationships that over time will fall apart. But also, once they fall apart, we'll look back at a lot of the wasted time and realize that we can't get that time back, and we'll probably have a little regret from that as well. Last but not least, I know that a lot of people say that getting to know themselves in the beginning feels very scary. Okay, getting to know themselves. But the longer we wait to get to know ourselves, the scarier that it gets, right? Because we need to know the ins and outs of ourselves. We need to know all these things about ourselves. I mean, we take time getting to know somebody on a dating app. We'll spend hours and hours staying up on the phone for hours listening to their life story. When was the last time that you spent even a little bit of time getting to understand why you make choices that you do? Understanding your past historical record and understanding why you make choices, where they came from, and why you actually have created this kind of codependent reality or this savior complex reality. You know, the thing about it is that the longer we wait to get to know ourselves, there's a lot of regret. Because once we finally do take that time to get to know ourselves, we end up realizing what makes us tick, and we stop making bad choices in our life. We stop accepting toxic choices, and we start making better time, and we actually spend time with the things that we want to do. Okay? So this is the pillar of all that I've been talking about in this video, is that when we finally get to know ourselves, that means that we've actually taken time to get to know the most important person in our life. And I know some of you might say, well, that sounds egotistical. That sounds narcissistic, Ashley. Why are you saying that? Well, why I'm saying this is because your purpose on this planet is to actually figure out how to accept yourself and then how to love yourself. And if you are avoiding that purpose on this planet, then you are avoiding the reason for being here. Okay? And so what happens later on down the road is you'll start getting to know that as you get wiser, as you get older, and you'll regret it because you could have started this at a lot earlier age. Okay? And no time is too late, but wouldn't it be great to understand that stuff and still have 50 years left of your life to experience that? Wouldn't it be great to understand that stuff and still have 20 years to experience it? I mean, you want to have time because once you begin to learn who you are and you understand all the nuances and you understand how you had this negative self-worth and how that was precipitated and all those types of things, and you begin to pull those negative layers off and you begin to see yourself as the light that you are, you want to live like that for as long as possible. Okay, so you begin to not do things that have no value. You begin to stop doing things because you think you have to. You begin to cut out the people in your life that facilitate no success, no happiness for you. You begin to cut that stuff out of life because why? Because you begin to see the value of every minute you're on this planet. And so if you begin to realize that, you begin to spend your time wisely. Okay? You begin to spend your time wisely. And I'm glad that you spent this time watching this video because I'm hoping to help you to stop you from consistently increasing all the distractions in your life. Remember, the distractions that we put in our life, whether it's an activity, whether it's a drug, whether it's alcohol, pharmaceuticals, or the distraction is a person, or many people for that matter. Those distractions take us off from our meaning. Those distractions take us away from getting to know ourselves. Those distractions derail us, okay, from our purpose here, from that acceptance and that self-love purpose. And that's what's so powerful. And so we have to let go of all these distractions, because the distractions are there because of the fear of the unknown. And the fear of the unknown is just that. There's fear because we don't know. And the only way that we know is to walk through that and to accept it. And one caveat, the folks that I've worked with to get to know themselves and understand themselves and to find that self-acceptance and that self-love, it wasn't bad. It was just overcoming that little small hump and realizing that it's not scary, it's not bad, it's just something that most of us never do. And so if you find yourself doing a lot of things that don't make you happy, if you find yourself doing a lot of things that you wish you hadn't, or you feel that they're toxic, or you feel like they're destroying your life, I want you to really think about this video. And if you need to watch it again, watch it again. Because this stuff will change your life forever. It changed mine. And I had to work through this on my own. And so I'm here to help you as your accountability partner to realize the value that you have, for you to stop including all these distractions in your life that are not helping you to be the person you want to be. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel, and please give me a like on this video if you like this video. And also, comments are always awesome, and I like to read your comments. And so if you have some comments on ways that you've done this, maybe perhaps ways that you began to listen to your gut on things, or also ways that you've actually employed to get rid of some of the distractions in your life, I would love to hear them. Because I love to hear from you, and I love our community. Don't forget to live your true life.